Welcome to Hamim Royale. This is Eric Grissom.
And I'm Dan Johnson. Eric and I will be rewatching the iconic Twin Peaks from the pilot through the return and everything in between.
If this is your first time watching, or if you're a longtime fan, you can watch along with us as we dive deep into the strange and wonderful world of Twin Peaks.
We live inside a dream.
Welcome to Meanwhile. Today we are, God damn it, Dan, we're halfway through the return. Well, I guess we're at the beginning of the halfway point, and at the end of this, we'll be in the halfway point. So it's our last hurrah in the front eight. Is that what they say?
Yeah, everyone's saying that all the time. Eight. The old front eight.
Dan, how did you spend your Twin Peaks day, which just passed on February 24th?
I was liking every post that came across my feed that had Agent Cooper entering Twin Peaks. So that was part of it.
Speaking of Agent Cooper, Mr. Kyle MacLachlan was in Reddit, not inside Reddit, he was on Reddit, doing an Ask Me Anything, and you and I both put some questions out to him.
We did.
We got some answers. There's some kind of interesting things asked and said, one of which I can't talk about now because it's a bit of a spoiler for later, but it lines up exactly with what your humble narrator has been saying on certain things.
I can't wait to come back to that.
All right, so someone asked Kyle if David Lynch had told him to listen to or watch any movies or music while preparing for Blue Velvet. And he said that he was told to listen to, how do you pronounce it? Shostakovich. Shostakovich. Lynch was listening to the 15th Symphony while writing Blue Velvet. They asked Kyle, Dan, if he saved anything from the Twin Peaks show, and you know what he said?
No, tell me.
He said, "I'm holding in my hand a small box of chocolate bunnies." Now, did he take that prop? Was he just being cute? I don't know.
Either way, it's adorable.
Yeah. Someone asked Kyle how David Lynch told him to prepare for his three roles, being Mr. C, Dougie, and Cooper. And his reply was, Mr. C was empty, Dougie was full, and Cooper's coffee was hot. So those are the instructions, I guess, that he got for the three.
The three states of Cooper.
Yeah.
Empty, full, and hot coffee.
Kind of makes sense, though. It kind of checks out.
It works for me.
Some idiot asked two questions. One of which was about the Georgia coffee commercials. That idiot was me. So I tried to get in like the question I've always wondered.
Yeah.
And that is, were there any unrealized projects between 1992 and 2017? Right, they work on Dune, Blue Velvet, then Twin Peaks, then Fire Walk with Me, and then nothing for 25 years. So I was wondering, was there a project? Was there Dream of the Bovine was a movie that Lynch wrote with Bob Engels that at one point they were trying to make. Was there any projects? So I front-loaded my regular question, and then I had to get with a secondary one, because if he doesn't answer that, I'll ask about the Georgia coffee commercials, which should have been my only question, because maybe I got a better answer. And said, do you have any memories of the Georgia coffee commercials? And did they give you a case of the stuff? Because I added that little bit, that's what he had responded to, and just said he's got a few cases left.
Well, but now you know for sure. And he does remember it because he has a few cases. So.
Right, which I think is a joke. I don't think he literally has a few cases left.
You don't know. That stuff could keep forever.
I'm sure it would. I would drink it. It's got the sting of the 33-year blend, I bet, that thing right there.
Even after 25 years, it still has the sting of the 33.
I pulled some other things that jumped out at me. So his favorite quote from the show was, "I have no idea where this will lead, but I have a definite feeling it will be a place both wonderful and strange."
Wonderful.
Certainly a great quote. Someone was praising his performance as Dougie, and he responded with that it was the result of Janie E. and Sonny Jim, which I think is very nice of him to say, and also true.
Yeah.
Kyle's fantastic, but I think he's elevated by those other two performances that don't get as much attention. I think, as they deserve. They're all great, but I like that he took the time to say that. He also, I did not know this, and I'll put the link in the show notes. He created a letterbox profile for Cooper, and I loved Cooper. And Cooper's top 8 movies is Suspiria. I love Dario Argento. I see a lot of similarities between Dario and Lynch, but that's a podcast for another day. But that's on there, which is good. And as luck would have it, my Blu-ray, I have a new Suspiria Blu-ray arriving shortly. And by the time you hear this, I'll already have had it. It's one of my favorite movies. Someone asked him about the hair product that was used. So, Cooper's hair was always slicked back. And he said it was a custom mixture of hand lotion and axle grease, and we used a lot of it.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah, one of the main reasons why he was doing it, other than the fact that it was Twin Peaks Day, he was also announcing a book.
Yeah.
So he has a new memoir coming out, which looks pretty good. We had a 1-year anniversary on Twin Peaks Day. So we've been doing this for 1 year.
1 year.
1 year.
1 year of weekly podcasts. Our previous podcast ran for what feels like 30 years, and that was every 3 weeks. This feels somehow even more intense than that.
Well, that's funny because we do this every week. We did the other show for about 10 years. Every third week.
Was it 10 years?
10 times 3
Right.
would feel like 30. Your math checks out.
Yeah, my math checks out. I guess that my intuition was right. Amazing.
I don't even know if I should say this, but I will say this. So I was posting a lot of videos every day. I was posting videos for the 7 days of Laura Palmer. You have no idea how many people hit me with actually, Laura died on the 24th.
Oh, no.
You don't think that I don't know?
Come on.
That Doc Hayward was too emotionally devastated and he had to bring in Joe Fielding, that she died between 12 and 4. So eventually I gave up. Like, I would just be replying and be like, well, I know technically, but this is a day-night cycle. And, if you got drunk, Dan, with Bobby.
Yeah.
Yep. And you killed a cop at midnight near the sound of sawing wood, and then you saw James the next morning, as you do. If he was like, where were you last night? Would you snap back, where was I this morning, James? Because it was after midnight.
Well, if it was James, I might.
Well, that's true.
But no, your point's a good one.
It's fine.
Yeah. Don't get caught up in the technicalities when you're trying to create free things for people.
All right, one other thing that I want to talk about, Dan, that is very cool. Within our Patreon, within our Black Lodge Patreon, we have 2 members of that Patreon that each, in their own lives, because of a love of Twin Peaks, reached out in their own little creative worlds and took 2 different members of people that exist in the Black Lodge in Twin Peaks and brought them into other projects. So first up, Daryl Dyson, we talk about him. When we get to we're going to talk about him today because he's still a member of the Black Lodge. So he wrote on our Patreon about a time when he was working in music videos, and he's doing a video for the band Korn, right? And so the director of this video is like, I want a special kind of character for the role. So Daryl suggested Carl Strucken, who we know is the giant and the fireman.
Oh, perfect.
Right? And even though at the time they had blown the budget, on other actors, and he gave up some of his own money, his own salary, in order to hire him. And this is what he wrote on our Patreon. Quote, he was such a pleasure to work with and an incredible trooper. I personally drove him home. How great is that?
That's so cool.
You're leaving a Korn video shoot, you're driving away, and you look over, and you're sitting next to the fireman, the giant. He's going to tell you 3 things on the way home, and if you don't get home by the time he gets there, he said an experience that is easily my favorite Lynch moment ever. I thought that was very cool. Second,
that's very cool.
Dana Gould, who is a member of our Black Lodge, was working on the Ben Stiller show, and they're doing a sketch, Otto the Anti-Cupid sketch.
Yep.
Dana is the reason that they bring in Mrs. Tremont.
Hi there. I'm Benjamin.
Oh, my name is Gertrude Anderson.
You're beautiful.
I'm 78 years old.
Things you must know.
When you see her in that sketch too, you couldn't have
she's
cast anyone else
fantastic.
anyway. She's perfect.
And man, the Ben Stiller show was great. Like, I have not seen it in a while. I don't think it's easy to, I don't think it's available on any typical streaming platforms. You can buy it digitally.
Search around for it too. Yeah.
I always think of that Manson sketch with Bob Odenkirk as Manson.
Starring Clarice Loman, Van Hammersley, and Luke Darien as Timmy. And of course, Charles Manson.
But anyway, I'm going to leave both links to the videos and the sketch and the video. I just love seeing the world of Twin Peaks spread out from people that have watched Twin Peaks. And the fact that they're both in our Black Lodge is pretty fantastic.
That's so cool.
And I'm already exhausted.
We haven't even gotten into it yet.
I forgot to mention when we were talking about the diary last time. I went off a long time talking about the diary and making it work. When we covered episode 16 of the original series, I had said, like, oh yeah, when we get to this one part, I got to mention this again, because if you remember that scene, this is episode 16. Don is taking Cooper to Mrs. Tremont's house.
Is Mrs. Tremont home?
I'm Mrs. Tremont.
Well, it must have been your mother I spoke to.
My mother? She passed away 3 years ago. I live here alone, honey.
No, she was here. I spoke to her. And her grandson, he was here too.
But I have no children.
She basically has a message from Harold, right? Remember that? She gives her the message from Harold, and I said it called it the timeline issue. Well, I didn't mention it during my huge Fire Walk with Me theory because it's difficult to make sense of, and it doesn't really work. Like, if you remember, like, this is the one, she gets the page, it says February 23rd.
February 23rd. Tonight is the night that I die.
Well, we know Laura gives the diary away on the 17th. I can make it work with the dream. I don't think anybody can make this work. Which, my philosophy, again, you pick the ingredients you want. And then you throw out the others.
Or another way to say it is, like, take the parts that feel true. You don't have to, like, take them literally in some of these cases. Like, that's still, even if it doesn't fit in, like, it's still true to the character for sure.
Hey, does Maddie introduce herself to Donna in the Double R? Yes.
Hi, I'm Madeline Ferguson. My friends call me Maddie. This is really nice of you guys. I don't really know anybody in town except Aunt Sarah and Uncle Leland.
Do they talk about how they knew each other since they were little kids in the diary? Yes.
These words come to you from the inside of a fort that Donna and Maddie and I built.
In my world, yes, they've known each other. So that's what I mean. You take the parts that you want and you run with it.
You take the good, you take the bad.
But I do confess I am a peeker.
Because I want to get to the show and not just keep talking about other things, I'm not going to tell you that I was listening and editing last week's episode, and I'm talking about dog legs, and I made a reference to a zip drive.
Did you?
Like a freaking zip? Yes. I'm talking about, basically saying, because Mr. C is talking about, remember the dog legs. And I was like, anybody can send out a zip drive with information. Freaking zip drive? Like, that reference has a 5-year lifespan. You got 1996 to 2001. That's it. Doesn't work any other part of the day. Anyway.
Let me get my FireWire adapter for my...
Oh, my God. It's exhausting. So let's just get into it. Let's get into Twin Peaks: The Return. This aired on June 25th, 2017. It's part 8. It's probably the most famous of the Returns run.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Gotta Light. It's fantastic. So we can just jump into it unless you have anything to add to before we begin.
On top of all that, no. Let's get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Roadhouse is proud to welcome the 9-Inch Nail.
Start a light. Start a light. Start a light. Start a light.
All right, Dan, Mr. C and Ray are on the run and decide to head to the farm.
So last time we saw them, Mr. C and that fucker Ray got in the Buick and head down the road. Now, Mr. C pulls out his phone and mentions that the car has 3 trackers on it, which is smart. Good thinking, Mr. C. Devious mastermind. Pulls out a phone, has an app that has 3 buttons on it. C, fire, and docks, maybe? Or DX with a circle in it? It's very stylized.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Yeah, it's a green C, it's red word fire with a little blue arrow to the right.
On either side, actually, his thumb's covering the one, but they're both there. Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, right, a D, and it looks like a silver circle, looks like a CD almost.
It looks like a CD, yeah. I was like, he's going to burn a CD on it. So speaking of old technology.
And an X.
But that's cool. So he pulls up to the truck behind them, hits these buttons, types in the truck's license plate, and I guess presumably now they're going to be following a truck instead. He gets some cool technology. But again, I mentioned this before, the aesthetics of the technology in the show, like just sleek black plastic and big flashing lights. It's just like very almost brutalist in a way in the design. So this fits right into it with this app that just 3 black buttons with colored text on it. So we got that. Ray's sitting there, man. I'm not the biggest fan of Ray, but I got to give him to him. He's got to have guts of steel to sit next to Mr. C and say, yeah, I memorized the information that you needed from me. I got it all in my head. I memorized it perfectly, but I think this is going to cost you extra, basically. This is worth some money. Next to Mr. C? You're going to do that?
Yeah, Mr. C is almost impressed.
Is that why he's...
In a way, with the way he look, he's almost, like, he's looking forward to putting a bullet in him, 100%. But there is, like, a look on his face that he's like, can you believe, like... It's almost like the nerves on this guy you almost have to take like a little bit, because he's constant. Like we see him, like you go back to part 2, right, where they're in the diner and he's talking about the wants and needs scene, and he's really sort of needling Mr. C. He's definitely someone that's going to go right up to the line and really.
This is not a guy that you want to go over that line with, though. The farm, what's your take? I know they don't explain it, probably doesn't even matter, but like, is it a brothel? Is it a safe house?
You will go to the farm.
Oh, okay, cool. I don't remember that. I know. Awesome. Okay.
The farm, by the way, is a cult inside the world of Riverdale, of which Machen Amick becomes a member.
Betty, please join us. Sit. Evelyn told us that you were finally ready to meet the farm.
There's going to be 2 Riverdale references in this episode. Just how it is. Also a show that started in 2017.
So Eric's next creative work is going to be that crossover special that everyone's been asking for between Twin Peaks and Riverdale. Cool. One thing that jumped out to me, I don't know why, but it just gave me the ick when Ray calls Mr. C Mr. Cooper. It felt so weird. He says, honestly, Mr. Cooper. I was like, I don't want anyone to call him Cooper. I don't want no one. Don't use that word. It is Mr. C. It is anything else, but Cooper just felt really, really weird to me. Anyway, that's all for this part. Anything else in here?
To back it up a little bit, it's worth pointing out that the Rancho Rosa logo is black and white. So for an episode that's predominantly black and white, it starts with it's like an inverted logo. It's very neat.
Well, that's so funny because I did sit and look through the title sequence, just seeing if they did anything different in the title sequence, thinking that there would be something because of the unique nature of the episode. But I did not even catch that the Rancho Rosa logo was the thing that was actually different.
Right. That's in black and white, but the regular, title is the same.
Interesting.
This is a interesting question. Do you skip the intro?
I don't always watch it.
That is a impeachable offense.
I know. And I hate to admit it because you said that when we did part 2, you said it's unskippable because we were talking about the difference between the pilot
I don't know
and
how you could skip
the
it.
first part. And, it's easy. There's a button that says skip intro, and I just hit that.
It's fine. I'm posting a post here for looking for a new co-host. Just get this out there. No. So it does start, and it's because this is a predominantly black and white episode. It's neat to see that.
Yeah.
The little detail. The 3 tracking devices, I don't know what to make of it.
Okay.
Like, I've tried to figure it out, like what fire, obviously you have fire, you have red fire. You've got the green, red, and blue present on it. RGB, that's the color space for TV and film, so it fits in with some of my heads. But it fits in with my thoughts. Him, like, pulling up and then go up behind that truck, and then he puts the license plate into the app. And so is it controlling a satellite system that is then feeding whoever's tracking him the information on, you know what I mean? It's like he's not
I got you.
He's not throwing the phone into the truck so that it's following the truck. He throws it out the window.
Yep.
So I know you're not supposed to think this way, but I'm trying to think technically, like, what is he doing?
And how is he going to get that other $10,000 from the drug deal? No,
Right.
It's these
But
mysteries that
seriously,
will never be resolved.
Right. But seriously, it's just interesting. I think about, like, is there a way to read it? What does the fire mean? Like, what is the C? What is the D? What is the CD? What is the X? I'm sure people have ideas. I usually have something that I think about for most things. This is something I don't know what to make of it.
I also want to know where he gets all of this technology from. So he's got this app that can control this. He knew that this was going to be a need in advance, so he's prepared for it. When we saw in the motel, when he pulls out that secure communication device that he talks to Jeffries or whoever it is, like, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. But he's been putting together a network of people in 25 years.
Right. He's got 25 years. He's in the FBI. He's got all of his contacts. He was using Albert to get information that he needed. I'm sure, he's got access to all sorts of stuff that we've never thought about. So I love Mr. C's language that he talks to that fucker Ray when he says,
You'd probably like to go to that place they call the farm.
That place they call the farm, which reminds me of him talking to Daria. They want to pull me back into that place they call the Black Lodge.
I'm supposed to get pulled back into what they call the Black Lodge.
This, like, other language that he uses all the time as if he's not a part of this group, and it's this language of these other people. It's a neat little trick in the script. So yeah, that's it. We covered the other stuff. So now Mr. C's gonna make Ray get off this highway, and Ray's gonna shoot Mr. C. That's what's gonna happen, and the woodsmen are gonna come to collect.
Pulling off the highway here, we get this point of view headlight shots again, just like the first time we met Mr. C when he's driving up and to Beulah's place. So I like that we get this. It's a repeated sort of visual motif that we get from David Lynch. The headlights in the darkness. Knowing that Ray had his plan up his sleeve the entire time, if that wasn't the case, I would just been getting so freaked out as he get further and further out, because, like, Fredo's right off the highway is a dirt road, no one's around, so he got to know he's in for it there.
Yeah, and it's kind of like bumpy, the ride as well. Like they're going off road, and that was specifically what he was like. I want a smooth ride when he was getting the car
true.
from the warden, and here we are off road.
It handled it beautifully. The way that Mr. C just turns his head and he's staring at Ray the whole time and just watching him is so. I love that you said this at the beginning, that Mr. C is empty. And it's just so accurate. He's just staring at this guy, lifeless eyes, but Ray doesn't flinch. So again, I got to give it. Ray has guts of steel to deal with a man like this and not immediately soil himself. Ray gets out and says he's going to take a leak. You see Mr. C pull out his friend they said he wanted to have in the glove box. He checks the bullets there, so he's ready to go. You think Mr. C's got the drop on him. And when Ray pulls out the gun and Mr. C pulls the trigger and I guess it's blanks or it's not working, whatever, and Ray shoots him, the look of surprise, genuine surprise on Mr. C's face is awesome. It's the first time it feel like probably in 25 years that something's happened that he wasn't already prepared for.
And it's interesting that it's connected to Ray, who, if you remember, when he's talking to Daria and he's like, Ray's in the prison, like he couldn't make sense of that.
But this prison thing with that fucker Ray.
Like he couldn't figure out that part. And that is the thing that he ended up getting shot with, was Ray connected to the prison.
Right. So their overall, I guess we'll come to it in the next section here, but the connection with whoever Ray is working with, Jeffrey's in air quotes. But is he really the one that is the wild card for Cooper, that he can't really have anticipated some of this? Yeah. So we got the woodsmen coming out here. We've seen them twice before this, and now we get a whole bunch of them. So we got little glimpses basically before. I love this because this is a lot of what I've seen Lynch do in this series. I guess also in the original run too. Simple-ish effects. It's basically just, superimposed, two shots superimposed on each other, transparent, but it's so effective. So you get this shot of Cooper on the ground, laying there bleeding, and the woodsman surrounding him and digging at, ripping at his body and smearing the blood, but also they're digging into the earth because his body isn't there in one shot. So these things superimposed over each other are really cool. It's a simple effect, but it's really evocative of what? I don't know. I can't make any sense of the exact meaning of it, but it's really cool to see that, the way that they're circling around Ray and doing that dance. And as he gets more and more terrified, the white flashing lights like we get used to from, especially in the first season, but just the signifier of the flashing light. I just love to see Ray actually at this point kind of fall to pieces. He's literally on the ground, almost hugging his knees and terrified.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Which makes sense. Yeah. I don't know how I would deal with it. The fact they didn't pass out from panic or puke himself is impressive too. So again, those guts. We get this shot of the woodsman smearing the blood all over Cooper's face, all over his body, and then the distended abdomen as the Bob egg comes out of him. So cool. Like that egg itself, or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to call it an egg, looks really cool in and of itself. It's like this, very organic. It makes me feel like a Cronenberg sort of
Sure.
I don't know. It's like that really visceral, gross, off-putting, makes me feel uncomfortable way in the best way possible. But then just with Bob's face kind of superimposed over it. So it's not the most sophisticated effect in the world, but it works so well. And we see more of that later too. You could imagine a super we're going to render all of this in 3D and put together a 3D model and make it look really, I don't know, photoreal, whatever. I think it works better this way, where it's just more evokes a feeling than it is.
Sure. I think it works for me. I think it looks like Bob is inside of the egg thing,
Yeah. I mean, it works.
Like Alien or something.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much like because you mentioned superimpose. I don't see it as like a layer on top, which we have seen things like that.
Oh no. I would say you change your mixed blend mode to screen, and then Anyway, that's tell me what you thought about this.
Yeah. Well, the last time Cooper went to pee, and this time Ray is going to pee. When Cooper went to pee, Briggs got abducted. Just a little fun coincidence.
Okay.
So the woodsmen are very interesting, and it's like we're going to see, maybe their birth or how they arrive here in a bit. But they're very linked to pain and suffering. And in this scene, it feels like they are like custodians of Bob, or like the guild navigators that are sweeping as they're pulling out that third stage guild navigator in Dune.
The Bene Gesserit witch must leave.
I think they exist in a different way than Bob, which we'll get to, because they're here as sort of the people I feel like that they make way for Bob. They're like arriving ahead, like Silver Surfer to your Galactus. But it's interesting to see like how they react to Mr. C dying, that they want this host to go on. Like we did not see Woodsman come when Leland dies, right? Because Leland, Bob was killing Leland. He was saying, I'm going to pull the ripcord. I can't use this vessel anymore. So it was like, Bob's in on the death. Bob is not ready to die at this point or wants his vessel to die. So it's very interesting to see them come, dig him up, do whatever ritual they're doing, preserve the egg, while they're doing it, put it back in. It's just very, very cool. We also see like at the end of this scene, after Ray hauls ass out of there, there's like, you see all this darkness and then you see this beautiful crescent moon and then the clouds go over it and everything just goes back into darkness as Ray's going to the farm. It's just so cool. Like the whole concept of these woodsmen, these servants of the lodge or what have you. I love it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I mean, as part of that, like when Ray peels away, we just sit with the flashing light, the dust that get kicked up from the car, just drifting across the screen. We sit with that for maybe a minute-ish. It's very, I love the pace of that. It looks really, really cool. And we just, in this slow motion shot, and we just kind of stay with it.
And there's like smoke and the smoke dust it's also happening all throughout as well. Like when they're speaking of the digging thing, do you remember the N64 kid? I think that's what it was called, where the kid gets an N64 for Christmas and he's like unwrapping it.
Oh, yeah,
like, N64. Somebody took the that video and put it over Cooper or like Mr. C, so that when he's unwrapping his package, they're actually unwrapping Mr. C's body. If I can find that clip,
that's great.
I'll leave it in the show notes. It's fun. I guess story-wise, you also have to say like, okay, he wanted a friend in the glove box. It had blanks or whatever they're called in movies. They'll use them where it's just like the shell casing or whatever. There's no bullet. So the warden has screwed him over, and then we'll see how the warden makes out messing with Mr. C like that.
Okay. I thought that Ray was behind all of that. I don't know how he would have done it, but of course it was the warden. I just didn't think through it. That's great.
Right. They gave Ray a gun, and then they gave him a bad gun so that he would do the pee and then have his gun ready, knowing the other gun's not going to work.
So again, Ray is kind of not the mastermind of this, but an instrument that other people are using in their own way. Okay.
Sure. I like the character. I think the character Ray is great. I enjoy. Yeah.
Oh no. He's just not a guy I want to hang out with. That's
right.
all.
But he would never be able to get the fake gun in there or switch the bullets or anything. Yeah. So no, the warden has crossed Mr. C.
That makes sense.
All right. So as he's fleeing, right. So Ray is calling Philip Jeffries, and as you said in quotes, whether it's, who is it? It's a mystery. And he tells him about what he saw. So last week I had mentioned, you had asked like if Lieutenant Knox or if anyone saw the woodsman. Clearly he saw the woodsman.
Oh, yes.
So he's reacting to it. So he knows what's going on. He also mentions like he saw something in Cooper Bob that he thinks this is what everything's connected to, which it is, because it's a good observation, because we know this Philip Jeffries character wants to be with Bob again. So it is kind of all about Bob.
Yeah.
But a brief scene here, but what's your take on Ray?
No, I mean, that was the most important thing. I saw something in Cooper. It may be the key to what this is all about.
Yes.
Which is a cool way of saying it. And, Ray's planning is like, I think he's dead. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure if he's actually dead, but he knows where I'm going. So I'll get him if he follows me. So to be continued. We're going to get another showdown, I hope.
Yeah, he's on his way to the farm, so we'll see if Mr. C follows. All right, so the Nine Inch Nails will play a song at the Roadhouse, and Mr. C comes to.
Yeah, that struck me too. The Nine Inch Nails, which was really, really nice.
A note on that, like, so the MC, let's play this guy, J.R. Starr. He kept apparently messing up, and he just kept saying the Nine Inch Nails, and eventually they were like, fuck it. And they just went with it, and it became the Nine Inch Nails. And then Nine Inch Nails later did, I want to say Watchmen. They did a song for Watchmen. And Damon Lindelof is a huge Twin Peaks fan. And so they're credited on that as the Nine Inch Nails. So it became like this thing that exists within the universe of Twin Peaks, and now I guess Watchmen.
Huh. Does that have anything to do with like alternate realities? There's
No,
Nine
the
Inch
guy
Nails, and then
just
there's no. In your head canon, can you make them connect? So
Yeah,
that's
no,
okay.
no. I just thought that was kind of funny.
I remember being so excited that this episode was going to feature a performance of Nine Inch Nails.
The Nine Inch Nails. I don't know who Nine Inch Nails are.
No, I thought it was going to be Nine Inch Nails,
Oh,
but
and then you
instead
were
it was the Nine
disappointed.
Inch Nails. Yeah, I was very disappointed.
Dan immediately went to Twitter. I was told. I don't know who this.
It was going to be Nine Inch Nails. I don't know who this is. That's not my Trent Reznor. But as a long time Nine Inch Nails fan, all the way back from Halo 1, I didn't listen to Halo 0, but all the way back from the very beginning, loved them. Though not one of my favorite songs. I don't think I've ever heard the song outside of this context.
Oh my God, I love this song.
It's fine. It's not.
It's fucking amazing.
It's not my Nine Inch Nails. No, it's great for the show.
Okay, all right, fair enough. This is why we don't always agree. So that makes sense.
Fits in the show perfectly. Tonally right. The energy is right. The lyrics, it's all perfect. Just not a song I would throw on in the background.
Okay.
Give me Head Like a Hole. I'll take that instead. But great performance. Man, to be in the Roadhouse in these years, their booking manager can't go wrong. Just booking hit after hit. But I don't know. What did you think about their performance?
Oh, I loved it. So this song, She's Gone Away, came out in 2016 as a release, but it was composed for Twin Peaks. So he wrote this for Twin Peaks. It's not the first song that they did as well. So Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who composed it, they were interviewed on radio station 101 WKQX, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. And Trent Reznor said, actually, we wrote a different song initially. Lynch said, how about something less Twin Peaksy sounding and more aggressive and ugly? Atticus Ross then said, I think he said, make my hair stand on end. And our nightmares can confirm the second time really was the charm for this one. So they also knew nothing about it. So they knew they wanted to do the song. They must have known something about it because I'm going to talk about the lyrics in a bit. But they only sort of knew their little bit of a section. So Lynch wanted everybody to have everybody's buy-in. Like, he didn't want them to record a song and not be happy with how he presented it. And so he invited them over to his house after they shot it. They watched it. And he accidentally showed a little too many frames after. So you saw Mr. C on the ground pop up. And he was like, pretend you didn't see that part. Like, so they didn't know, like, anything about Mr. C or anything, like literally nothing.
Oh, no kidding.
Except for their thing. So they got a little bit of
the context or anything. Yeah.
So the lyrics are very interesting. So you've got, you dig in places till your fingers bleed, spread the infection where you spill your seed. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But also the line later on, a little mouth opened up inside. So that'll become very important when we get to the end.
This just all works so beautifully. And to not have any sort of real concrete direction of...
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know the detail. Like, I don't know if David Lynch said, okay, these are images that you should have in your head, and then that translated. They didn't know about the story.
Sure. And you could imagine that might be the case. You had talked a bit about his the collaboration style with Angelo Badalamenti as well, right? Kind of talking through imagery and feelings to get that. So yeah, I guess you could imagine maybe that was. Otherwise, it would just be the most amazing, like being on the same wavelength as ever if it just kind of came with his imagery.
And they're friendly. Like, the Nine Inch Nails is on the Lost Highway soundtrack, and I think that was the first time they really worked on anything or were involved in a creative project. The crowd loves it, though. The crowd is going crazy. And I love the way that I love this. I think the song's perfect. I listen to it off Twin Peaks time as well. I feel like you could blare this and go riding in the dark and everything's going to be all right. But I love how it builds at the end. And then Mr. C just like pops up.
Yeah.
He's born. You're going to see him being born here, and then someone else is going to be born. So we're going to cut over, right? So it's July 16th, 1945, White Sands, New Mexico at 5:29 a.m. The United States government successfully detonates the first atomic bomb, and Bob is born, Dan.
When I think about the return, this is obviously, maybe not obviously, probably not uncommon, though. This is the scene that comes to mind immediately. It is beautiful and violent and strange and unsettling. I haven't seen any of the making of. I don't know, because I have it in my cart. I haven't bought it yet. Z to A. I don't know if this covers any of this, like how this was filmed.
It's CGI.
Oh, so they use computers.
Yeah.
But
no, but but honestly, when you see it, you don't know if it's like a mix of archival footage with effects on top of it or anything.
Right. No.
I didn't know that.
No. That's great.
Yeah.
And because it feels like David Lynch uses a mixture of different techniques, practical, in camera, CG. Like it could be any of those things or a combination of them. But is there anything on the extras that go through the making of this part at all?
No. I just had most of that stuff was just looking it up on my own. It was done by a company, BUF or Boof. I don't know if it's pronounced or said as letters, but they did the CGI segment. There's other things they also did, like we'll get to the I think the same company did the Frog-moth. So like they would shoot this stuff, like Peter Deming would be shooting in the desert. And then David Lynch would be like, okay, now follow the place where no, you're going too fast. You got to slow down. But he's not seeing it. They would add that thing in with the CGI. But this was a segment that was, this whole thing going in like was sort of created and crafted.
It's amazing. I don't know if you know the visual effects house, and they have a YouTube channel, Quarter Digital. Youngish guys.
I don't know.
Youngish guys, they do a lot of digital effects, but they also do a series of breakdowns of different visual effects from movies and TV shows and things like that. And they not typically, but quite often have like the heads of those productions, like the guy that ran everything for Avatar, like having so they did in episode 88 of Visual Effects Artists React to Bad and Great CGI, episode 88. I do remember seeing that because they do go through this, because one of their fans had asked, can you do a breakdown of this?
It's a really powerful shot for a TV show, especially like in terms of nukes. Like nukes are always kind of janky because it's such a really hard flow physics thing to like actually simulate without having to just fake it. And obviously they're faking it here, but like a lot of great artistic decisions to make it like really impactful. The framing, the lighting, the color.
It's all very heavily art directed and guided.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it feels really realistic and grounded.
I saw that a long time ago before we started recording this. I want to go back and rewatch that again. But I would recommend for anyone that's interested in that, just to see what some other professionals think about how it was done. Anyway, it is beautiful. The music, the strings, the cacophony of that throughout is absolutely perfect as we change from different visuals. You get like at the beginning, you get the lightning strike kind of coming down, the mushroom cloud blooming, the shock wave that comes out so beautifully and violently across the landscape. And as we keep going slowly into the mushroom cloud itself, and then everything from there changes. You get like that, I don't know, it kind of feels like ink blots, and then you get the dirt and debris and the swarming white pixels on black that feels very like 2-bit digital. And then you get that kind of pulsing flame repeated, like almost honestly reminded me of the time vortex from Doctor Who, but like a really deadly violent version of that as you're kind of going through this. But to me, it felt very much like we have ripped a hole in the universe, and this is a gateway that has been opened up between the two. Really effective and gorgeous, and like I could watch it like another dozen times and get more out of it.
I love how far away it starts.
Yeah.
You're so far back, and you see, as you're pushing closer, you see the lightning and the electrical discharge that would occur near a detonation like this when the air gets ionized is fantastic. The music. That's Threnody to the Victims of Hiroshima. It was composed for 52 string instruments in 1961 by Penderecki, Christoph Penderecki. It's dedicated to the people affected by the atomic bomb explosions in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's performed by the Warsaw National Philharmonic. It was in Children of Men, but the thing that jumped out at me the most was it's also apparently in The People Under the Stairs.
We will get him out of our house! He's filthy. He's bad. He's awful. Fire!
Which stars Everett McGill and Wendy Roby, Ed and Nadine, obviously.
Oh, there you go.
I've seen that movie a bunch of times. I don't remember this in it, but I guess probably for the effect of like some jump scare or some kind of situation, they're playing a piece of the song. I thought that was very cool. Peter Deming, who is the director of photography for all of the Return, he did an interview with Joyce Eng on Gold Derby's Meet the Experts. And he talked about, they asked him specifically about this episode. And they didn't know where stuff would start and end. So when he was working on the color grading, Lynch was so far behind in, putting this thing together that Lynch is still doing the sound design with Dean Hurley.
And so I watched everything silent. And just based on the visuals in part 8, I was just sort of like, you remember shooting all that stuff, but you didn't realize it was all in this episode. Mm-hmm. And so, when we were timing, I was sort of
even when you were
just
shooting
reacting to
stuff,
it silent.
You didn't know, you didn't piece it together. Like this might fit in.
No, because you're shooting for 8 months, mm-hmm. and you're shooting essentially one story for 8 months. So the only way we could tell where it was in the sequence, even though I'd read the script, was the scene numbers. Are we in the 200s, the 400s, the 600s? Then we knew sort of where it was in the episode count, but we didn't know what the episodes were. So we knew we had a lot of unusual stuff, and a lot of it was innate. When I got into color timing, I was like, okay, it's all in this one.
So it's just interesting to think about shooting the stuff and putting the stuff together and not really knowing how it's all going to connect. And especially, I imagine, with shots like this that were done with CGI that he's now seeing incorporated with the stuff that they did shoot. It's just really, really cool. This test that happened is a fission bomb. So it is a ripping apart of atoms. It literally is a tearing apart of the fabric of our world. Awesome stuff. So as we get through that piece, now we're going to be outside a convenience store where several woodsmen are gathering in a flickering madness.
Yeah, we got the meeting of the woodsmen. This is not just a couple of guys showing up. This is a whole squad.
It's a whole damn town.
It's a whole damn town.
It's not just a couple of guys on a fishing trip, Dan.
I'm a whole damn town. The fact that it's just like convenience store written out there. We live above a convenience store, just like I said. Terrific. I love this glitchy backwards and forwards. You get like the slamming of the door. Like the frames are sequenced interestingly. Just like whenever Cooper met Nato, it's that kind of stop, stutter, backwards, forward progression. We have the kind of steam or smoke coming out of that, coming around to the gas pumps, and then we get all of the woodsmen starting to show up. Then they kind of go inside. The lights are flashing, but it all starts with like a very static shot. The camera doesn't move at all, and it's just like the frames keep kind of jumping around. Then it gets progressively more and more chaotic, and the camera starts doing twisting angles on it, and then the focus comes in and out. So it just keeps getting progressively more and more chaotic. And in the background, you hear the sound like maybe like a radio dial tuning in static overall. So like electricity or foreshadowing the radio station that we see later, but just, broadcast, emissions, maybe from the bomb as well. And the flashing lights that we get, reminiscent of what we saw with Ray previously and have seen elsewhere. But what a great shot. It just, anyway, I don't know. I could just keep saying, what a cool shot. I'm going to keep saying that for every scene that comes up. What a cool shot.
What's neat about we lived above a convenience store is there are stairs on the side of the convenience store that go up, but there's no upstairs. It's just a roof up there.
Yeah.
So it's like these stairs, right by the payphone, that go up to almost nothing. So it's like this is the convenience store, and they lived above it because they're living in a different dimension that's not visible to the human eye at that point. Is great. Is this 1400 River Road? Remember the Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, when Laura Palmer goes out to that abandoned gas station at 1400 River Road where she meets Margaret Lanternman.
When I walked around Troy so that I was completely facing the station, I saw the log lady standing very quiet with her log, right underneath the piece of wood that said 1400 River Road. She smiled at me, and I realized I had seen her face in my dream.
There's the engine oil. Obviously, we see these gas pumps. We have the oil. It's all coming from here. We've got cans of creamed corn in the window of this convenience store. You stole the corn when they lived above the convenience store. It's a lot of little details that are very cool happening here. So now we're going to jump over to the deep recesses of space. The experiment is vomiting an egg-filled liquid, and it contains a black bob-filled sphere. So interesting vomiting session going on here.
It's very cool to get this first clear view of the experiment after having seen kind of just the hazy, out of focus, hard to kind of get a sense of it in the box in part one. It just the vomit, the stream of vomit, all the eggs that are kind of floating around in it. It's so beautiful and disturbing. Really feels organic. It feels so tangible, and the way that it's just issuing out from it. Oh man, it's beautiful. It's creepy. It feels like a moment just snatched right out of a dream. It feels like right out of someone's subconscious and put right into film. Again, you get this the Bob egg like we saw coming out of Mr. C before. Again, it doesn't feel super high tech, but again, really, really effective. Just nice to see him. Nice to see again, Bob.
Yeah, it's good to have Frank Silva in the show.
Not just the lower half of his jaw superimposed over Mr. C. We really know that he is riding along with him. Yeah, this is just a cool scene, and I don't know what to, at this moment, don't know what to make of all of this and the eggs that we'll see in a moment. But knowing that this, these little eggs turn into the frog moth. Are they all over the world?
Yeah, I mean, but potentially.
The scale of this just expands. Yeah, obviously the scale expands. We're in the outer space of the whole universe, but the scale of the impact on Earth. We have read in the Secret History, there's this idea of many portals around that they're trying to open up that kind of cause this bridge to this other world. Likewise, are these many cases of these eggs all over the place that are wrecking havoc. We only see one Bob, but we don't know there's not other sort of similar entities that got spewed out there. But I don't know. It's cool.
Sure. Yeah, and I think the Bob egg too is different. It's like a black. It has a different casing than the other eggs.
Okay.
It's like the shape. It's more of like a rock. A black rock piece of coal or something with Bob in it. But yeah, so I had mentioned before, for me, experiment, Judy, the same thing, the knowing, as I'll keep referring to it as. But yeah, spreading these eggs to create more Judy all out there through this torrent of goo. But it's very interesting when you watch it, because Bob passes or comes forward, and there's an egg that leaves the stream that goes off to the side. So we'll have to deal with that later. And then when you think about the lyrics to the Nine Inch Nails songs, right? Spread the infection where you spill your seed. So here is literally the experiment spilling her seed and spreading the infection. It's just very cool. We've reached the midpoint again, friends. It's that special time. It happens every episode when we just take a minute and we thank the wonderful people that have joined us in the Black Lodge to support our little show and to keep the lights on, to keep the frog-moths at bay. Dan and I have been on a train. We've gotten out. We've got our little copper nickels. We're going to buy some sugar water and hope that the hordes of frog-moths don't flap into our faces. No, Dan, why don't you tell me and them who we're thanking today.
Well, Eric, we are thanking our good friends Chuck Suffel, Gregory Flanagan, Don Adamo, we got Banjo Track, Eric Knopp, Charlie Tapper, Jake Jagello, Matthew Fuller, Dave Melito, Daryl Deason, Dana Gould, and Jeff.
Yeah, thank you, people. It means a lot. If you want to join them in the Black Lodge, or even if you want to join at one of our other tiers, you can head over to ericgrissom.com/meanwhile. Click on the link for Patreon, and you'll be helping us out, and you'll be helping yourself out, because there's some extra stuff on there as well. So with that said, let us get back to business. So now we're going to enter pure fire and a golden orb that sort of forms, and then red fields, and come back to that purple sea where we find a fortress atop a pillar of rock.
Yeah, so this the golden orb that we see reminds me like a chaotic kind of version of the golden orb that came out of Dougie when he popped. So just being able to see like the golden orb here and the golden orb there, we see another one later. So just feeling connection about how all these things are related, how they work together. But it feels like we go inside that orb and there's this, it's almost like a star field that you're rushing through, but it's these red. It reminds me of like blood cells or something. Like we're going through something very organic that then resolves itself into that purple sea that we saw in part 3. So it almost makes me think like universes contained inside universes contained inside universes. Like dimension doesn't have any real meaning because we're inside this thing that's inside another thing. And this ocean is vast and limitless. And again, I love the pacing of this episode because we really just take our time starting way far back across the sea, coming up to that pillar of rock that you, as you described it. And we just really take our time and see the waves crashing on it and slowly move up the rock. And we see this, you described it as a fortress on top of this building. It really reminded me of like if Frank Gehry did brutalist design.
Who's Frank Gehry? I don't know who that is.
Oh, God, what's the name of the most famous one in LA? Oh, the Walt Disney Concert Hall. I thought it was a Disney thing, but I didn't want to say it and be wrong. Walt Disney Concert Hall. Look that up, and it feels like that, but more of a brutalist design. He has a few buildings in New York as well. Anyway, but yeah, just coming up and seeing that, and then just the slow tracking into that slit window that almost reminds me of like you said, like a fortress or a castle, like the arrow slit. So it feels very protected, and we come inside to this building that we'll talk about in a second. But just that whole transition from chaos and fire to this blood to this huge endless sea, like you had called it, like
ocean of pure consciousness.
And there's an ocean of pure, vibrant consciousness inside each one of us. And it's right at the source and base of mind, right at the source of thought, and it's also at the source of all matter.
Ocean of pure consciousness with this kind of tower standing out and from I don't know. I could just keep talking about the visual imagery again, but this is an audio podcast and you all have watched it. Eric, tell me what's important in this that you picked up.
Okay, so when you think about like the nuclear,
like our president,
the nuclear test, it's a fission reaction. It's the splitting of atoms that is used to destroy things. After this destruction happens and the Judy experiment, starts vomiting these things, and then we go into this, this pure fire, and then we see that golden orb, that golden globule, like this soul egg. This feels to me like nuclear fusion, which are the nuclear reactions inside of a sun, inside of light, inside the soul of the universe. Like this force of nature can be used for good and evil. There's the ripping away, and then there's the bringing together. And when we go into that golden orb, which is the soul that Cooper has, the piece of that soul was used to make Dougie. you had the same reaction that I do when you see that red. It's blood because it's life.
Mm-hmm.
So there's death and then there's life. And now we're going to the opposite of this horror nightmare. We're going into the light. We're doing nuclear fusion instead of fission. And then inside of that is where we're going to find that ocean of pure consciousness. This is where sort of the ideas are. If mankind has an idea to destroy, mankind will also have an idea for love and for stories and for goodness. You can create Twin Peaks just as much as you can create weapons of war. So this whole sea, to me is where this ideas come from that we draw on. I wonder if is this fireman's house by the sea the same building that Cooper had arrived in part 3, or is it like an archipelago of interesting brutalist style architecture, buildings or whatever? And I wonder if it is the same building or not. Clearly, same sea. It's that same purple sea. The look and the feel of it is the same as the building that we saw when he met NATO, an American Girl. Just something interesting to think about. I got to keep making Dune references because them pushing into that rectangular opening in the fortress is so much like in Dune when House Atreides is being loaded into the Guild Highliner.
Soon they'll begin to fold space. Far off in the control rooms of spice gas.
Right before the third stage Guild Navigator is going to fold space from Caladan to Arrakis. It's the same. I don't know if you remember that movie well, but you see all the ships going in, and it's the same sort of rectangular thing. But in Dune, it's got more ornate design around the edges. But it's clearly a Lynch designed thing and a sensibility that he has that I love. Okay, so should we jump inside to this wonderful fortress?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so inside the fortress, Senorita Dido listens to the sounds of a phonograph when an alarm sounds, calling in the firemen.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same thought you did about, is this the same building? But when you think about when we saw NATO take Cooper up the ladder on top of the building, it doesn't make any sense in the way that we understand dimensions at all, because now we're on top of this floating in space little building. So it's a completely different, so how these things actually connect to each other, it could absolutely be the same thing, but looks completely different from your perspective or where you are or how you got there. But the things that are connecting them is on top of that building was that bell-shaped kind of dented device with the dials that NATO pulls the switch on and gets flung off. And then inside the fortress here, in the kind of parlor area that the Senorita Dido is sitting listening to music, we have another one of those. The only difference is on top of it has what looks like maybe a little two curly antenna type things on top, or maybe it's connected in some way. We see another one later by the movie screen as well. I love the tone of this, the music, her makeup, the way that she is sitting there. It all feels like almost like a silent film or the era right after that. The music just sounds, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, the music is Slow 30s. It's called Slow 30s Room from Dean Hurley and David Lynch.
Oh God, it's great. Her eye makeup too. She just has that look of a film star from that era. And then later, obviously, and that's before we even get to the actual movie screen that we see later on too. So it's really evocative in the beginning that gives you this feel throughout. So we get that phonograph. Is it the same phonograph as we saw in part 1? A different setting though, because we have different arrangements. But yeah, I mean, it would obviously make sense that would be. But just the design of this room is beautiful. There's that lamp that's standing there on the floor that almost has a Tiffany sort of style to it. Just everything feels of a particular era. It's just beautiful. Dido in mythology, is I had to look this up because I didn't know exactly, but is typically represented as a conflict between desire and duty. which I think is an interesting thing to layer on top of this. Um, and yeah, we hear the alarm go off as Dido's been sitting there, kind of swaying back and forth, listening to music. We see the alarm go off and the light flashing above this device. The fireman comes out, stands there listening to it, and he turns around and goes back behind it. But you never see him pass on the other side. So I wonder if, like, again, dimensions, geography, how these things kind of geometry, how these things work together. Did he go inside it and gets transported out to the other side because you don't see him pass, or how he turns because he doesn't cross behind it? So does he go around and back away from the camera so you don't see him? How does he get from where he is to the next scene where he's going up the stairs? I don't care for an answer. Like, it's an MC Escher, things kind of loop up back on themselves and they just work because dream logic works that way. Totally fine for me.
Yeah, I just thought he went behind it. I didn't think about him going into it.
I don't see him come out the other side, so I don't know. Yeah. Tell me what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, the music is fantastic. The black and white is so striking, and the furniture in the room design. You mentioned the lamp. The lamp almost looks like a chandelier hanging upside down in the way that it's tapered at the end. It almost feels like it should be upside down, hanging down.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like, it's the thing that's sitting on, like, that looks like a rug could be the medallion on the ceiling.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Yeah. Just a visual thing. Carpet is so beautiful. I made that mention in part one. To me, it feels like the same place Cooper was when this thing started. The machinery you talked about, the fireman. I'm keep calling him the fireman. But he is credited still in this episode as 7 question marks. Worth pointing out. Okay, turns off the alarm, slowly walks out the room. Now we're going to go into the grand hall. The fireman is going to watch the events that we saw previously, the birth of Bob and the spreading of this darkness. He floats above the ground and emits a golden light. A portion of it forms into a sphere bearing Laura Palmer's face, and Senorita Dido releases it into the world.
Yeah, so the fireman is all filmed in reverse, right? Still, it's hard to tell in some of this.
I did. You know what? I think I was just so lost in the world that it didn't occur to me whether it is. I didn't think it was.
It doesn't seem like Senorita Dido is at all, because on
No,
my second viewing, watching through, if you were to compare the way her dress moves to the way, say, Laura Palmer's dress moves in the Red Room, you can see that she's not in reverse. But the only reason I asked this because he walks up those stairs. I'm just imagining a man like this trying to walk down the stairs backwards to reverse the shot. Must have been technically difficult. I don't know if it is or not.
Okay. I didn't think it was, but it doesn't mean it isn't. It seemed like he was walking regular. It seemed like it was just
I don't
going
know.
forward.
Just a question, because the last time we saw him and he's speaking to Cooper, he was reversed.
Right, but he doesn't talk to as well, so it's right.
That's so you can't tell, right, what's going on. Anyway, small thing, just curious. I love that this is all set like a film palace from days gone by. So the grand staircase leading up. Then we see this empty kind of concert hall, no chairs, just the big open floor space. And another of these bell-shaped devices that are sitting on the stage area in front of the film. As the fireman walks up and takes his place towards the film, I just love how graceful it is that he just begins levitating. Like, there's no indication it's going to happen, and it's just, I know I keep saying this a lot, but just this internal logic, this dream logic, and it just makes sense somehow that this would happen. Of course it would. Then we see the spotlight on the screen and the silhouette of Lady Dido coming in, and just how long this takes to come in as she makes her way towards the stage, and you can track her progress with the silhouette across the stage as she comes up. I think it's just a beautiful, effective shot. She's so glamorous, and I love the lighting and the design of this.
Yeah, I didn't mention it before. She's played by Joy Nash, who's in a show called Dietland.
Okay. She's so expressive, doesn't have a single line, but just in her facial features, her expression, the makeup, everything does its part, and she's really captivating in this. Then we come back to the fireman, and he's now kind of rotated a little bit as he's levitating, and she's watching with anticipation and excitement for what's happening, and the golden light spilling at him, well, all these particles, they formed like almost looks like roots, kind of like a branches of a tree coming out or something, very organic feeling. And then the orb kind of appears. I love her expression of anticipation, waiting for this to happen. Um, the golden orb itself is kind of filled with the sparkling light as well. So again, it looks like another universe inside this universe, just these concentric, like nesting dolls of universes inside each other. But then you do get to see Laura Palmer's face inside. As when the orb comes down to Lady Diana, she holds it gently and then gives it a kiss and then sends it back up to the Rube Goldberg type contraption above her that
Mhm.
sends it into it. I love that moment. I'm very interested to see what your feelings are, your interpretation, and how all this kind of comes together for you. It all makes emotional sense to me, but I don't know how it logically makes sense at all. Not that it necessarily needs to. That's been my kind of struggle through all of this. Like everything feels like it makes sense, but I don't know. I couldn't describe it in a narrative way that would make sense to anyone else who hadn't seen it. But it's just absolutely beautiful as that orb gets to the screen, the way that kind of absorbs through the screen and then goes to the earth. And like that entire projection, like the globe that's spinning there feels like I don't know, RKO pictures or something. Like
Sure.
it's in
Yeah.
that old school, like all this visual language that he's using. Um, it's just really effective and it all comes together in this like era feels very defined, but at the same time completely foreign and alien, mixed with these cosmic supernatural effects on top of it. So it's great. Again, what a beautiful shot. I don't know. Got nothing else to say. Tell me what your thoughts are on this.
Well, first off, the music is so beautiful. It's Angelo Badalamenti, his piece, "The Fireman." It's just wonderful. Absolutely beautiful stuff. I love how long the time it takes for him to walk up those stairs into the concert hall. So when he gets there and we watch him watching the screen and we see the bomb, and we see the woodsman at the convenience store, and we see Bob. And when he sees Bob, we're paused on that. And, I had said this a little bit before, but like if man can create something as dark and terrible as an atomic bomb, it can create something as pure and beautiful as Laura Palmer. Here both ideas are unleashed on the world. Laura's here, to combat the darkness. This idea that this area is where these ideas are coming from, and we're going to see sort of them physically enter the world, right? The idea of Laura, the idea of Twin Peaks is being literally sent into a screen. That's how I'm looking at this. So now we're outside of the show and we're sending this thing into the world, into a two-dimensional visual medium, literally, like right in front of us, is really, really cool. The tubes and the spheres also feel very much like Inside Out. If you've seen Inside Out with the core
sure.
memories and stuff going through the tubes and going around. A lot of this stuff also, it just feels so much like Dune to me. The art design of Dune, that look of the tubes and how everything's connected. It's really beautiful. Senorita Dido, as she's coming out, and there's a spotlight that hits her and just follows her all along the way. And spotlights are often so accompanied in the world of Twin Peaks by spooky things, or like flashlights in the woods, or on Bob. But here it is accompanying something positive and beautiful. And I love watching that happen. When this is kind of I don't know how much truth is to this, but when they have the Bob picture frozen on the screen, the eggs behind Bob do look like little balloons. When we think about the red balloons that we've been watching as we go through the show, they just have like an appearance of balloons. It's just something that popped into my head. But yeah, for me, it's like I'm going to keep talking about going in and out of Twin Peaks, and like this is it. I mean, literally taking the idea of Laura Palmer and sending it into the world of the show. So now it's going to be August 5th, 1956. We're in the New Mexican desert. An egg hatches, out of which crawls a frog moth.
It's fantastic. So it's 11 years after the detonation. we see that again, it's beautiful. The dune, the sand, the way that it's just laid out, that it almost feels to me like a Zen garden or something. Just the way that the sand almost feels arranged. I wouldn't be surprised. Every detail matters.
It looks like the carpet as well in the place we were just
Yeah,
at.
yes, and it also reminds me. Whenever I said like the golden light coming out of the fireman's mouth kind of looks like roots. It before the orb comes out of it, it kind of things collapse or kind of connect a little bit more, so they're not so branched out. They feel like these almost ripply wave sort of pattern. It kind of feels similar to that as well. But I don't know, chaos turning into order. I don't know, something along those lines. But we see the what we now know is an egg that's there because it starts hatching open, and inside that it almost feels so visceral. It feels like a little jelly layer on top of the thing before it pushes its way out. Like it just feels like very tangible, like you could touch it. Not that you would want to, but the way that this thing slithers out and the fleshiness of the body, the production house or the digital effects house that did this for them, kudos. It feels so real.
Yeah, based on a design by Lynch, drawings and stuff of what this thing should be.
To bring drawings into what feels photoreal and feels absolutely like I could touch it is incredible. And those little bug wings on its back. It's just, what a crazy design. It's really cool to see this. And luckily we get to see a whole lot more of that as we go. I don't know if you know anything about like the making of this too, but like it feels like this again is one of these mix of practical and digital. Like the frog-moth being digital, but like the egg itself, the way that it cracks open, it almost felt like stop motion to me. When the creature is still inside the egg and kind of moving around, it could have been like a plate with another film playing behind it. Like it feels like there could be any number of combination of shots, which really works for me because we're using all this language of old cinema in the previous scene as well. So like all these different film techniques coming together to create the visual effect that we want from the very beginning of film to the most advanced at that time creation of these digital effects, all kind of coming together.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've seen Peter Deming talk about this and talk about filming the frog-moth.
They would describe how it was going to move, or so I would operate the camera and just sort of try and follow it around, and he would watch and say, "Oh, it's not that fast," because these are things in David's head, and so having never seen a frog-moth before, and I didn't really know how it moved. So, yeah, exactly. So it was trial and error a little bit, and but that's basically how it went. Yeah.
The way he talked, I didn't get a sense that there was anything there, but I don't know. I mean, maybe because you see the frog-moth in another scene, he could have been talking about that scene.
Sure.
Whether the egg was practical or not, I don't know.
Yeah,
I definitely get lost in it, but I didn't see too much behind the scenes to tell you if that's true or not.
Yeah, I got nothing else.
Well, the frog-moth is a creature of, metamorphosis and change. You've got moths and you've got frogs, amphibians, and you go through a tadpole cycle. Moths that start out in one form and then become another form. The frog-moth was in the guidebook. It's on page 14 in the history section. I'm going to talk more about that later and the entry about that later.
Okay.
Because it's going to tie into the thing in the end. But I do want to talk about David Lynch's cooking quinoa, which is on the Inland Empire DVD. It's so great. He's basically cooking quinoa and talking to you. And then he tells all these crazy stories. And this is one of the stories he talks about from a train trip that he took in 1965 from Athens, Greece to Paris, France. And he's on the train trip with Jack Fisk. And while they're on this train, it stops when they're in Yugoslavia, and it lets them off onto this place with there's no real station or anything around. It's just the wind is picked up. They get off the train and into this dust-filled landscape, and there's this little in the distance. He sees there's this little canvas and wood stand.
We saw a little stand, canvas and wood, some small lamps around it. And as we got closer, we saw bottles, yellow bottles, green bottles. The bottles were clear, but the fluid inside was green or yellow or red or violet. and it was sugar water. It wasn't, chilled. It was just absolutely the temperature of the outdoors. And for the smallest amount of money, you could get a bottle of this sugar water. So I gave the man there in this small tent. Moths were flipping and flying, and like frogs. Frog-moths were pulling themselves out of the earth and flying up in front of the stand. Dust was blowing. It was like a mysterious, strange wind sound. And out came a tiniest little copper coin that I'd gotten somewhere, and I gave it to this man. I gave the man the coin. He gave me a bottle of, I don't know if I got violet sugar water or what. I got this bottle. And in addition, I got a piece of paper money, 4 inches by 3 inches. The most beautiful, intricately designed gold and green and blue, red, a piece of paper money and the bottle for just giving him this small copper coin.
And he says it's 4 by 3, which, by the way, is 7. I'm on to you, Mr. Lynch. That is gold and green and blue paper money, and he gets change. He gets this sugar water, all for just this copper coin. But in this tent behind him is these frog moths. So this idea of this frog moths is something, I guess, that has been in his head since at least 1965, when he saw them on this strange train journey. It's very cool. I'm going to talk a lot about frog moths later, so we'll just put a pin on your don't put a pin directly in the frog moth. Don't be a monster. All right, so we're going to be outside a gas station where a teenage boy and girl walk home.
The thing, I was watching the episode on whatever streaming device, and for whatever reason, the Paramount app on that device doesn't show subtitles. And I sometimes like to have the subtitles on because I want to make sure I'm catching exactly what's said, even though they're not always 100%. It's nice to have. So instead, I was looking at a site that had them. The connection I'm making here is there's no dialogue since the 9 Inch Nails until now. Mm-hmm. And the first line is, "Do you like that song?" So in the subtitles, it made it sound like the boy's asking the girl if he liked the 9 Inch Nails song. And she did. She really liked it. So that's nice.
That's awesome. I never thought of that in all of the times that I've watched
I
this.
wouldn't have caught it if I had looked at that transcript. I was like, why's that line in there?
Yeah, I talk about how they talk about music. That was in my notes and how neat that was, but not connecting it. That's literally the last thing in this show was music. That's very cool.
Because we don't actually hear what song they're talking about otherwise, so it's pretty cool. I like it.
Right. 9 Inch Nails as well, but also I guess it could be any of the music we heard, but that is still such a great observation. Yeah.
Sure. I guess that's true. That's true. Maybe it's the other music you were talking about too. But anyway, that's great. She finds a good luck penny. Eric, how lucky is that penny? Even though it's heads up, so it's supposed to be.
Heads up. Heads up. Lots of severed heads in this. I mean, also Red with "This Is Me" when he got heads. Heads I win, tails you lose.
This is true.
Hawk has his buffalo nickel. I believe that came up as heads as well.
Buffalo. So we got a penny, we got a nickel, we got a dime. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's just a sweet little love story as these two are walking down the country road. That's all. Short scene.
Yeah. So another gas station, like we just saw the gas station where the woodsmen were going crazy. Here's another gas station, lots of gas. There's always the presence of scorched engine oil not far away. The kids, the boy, credited as boy 1956 and girl 1956, are played by Xolo Maridueña and Takena Faircrest. I hope I'm getting your name correct, both of you. Xolo, you may recognize, he's in Cobra Kai and Blue Beetle. I like how they're talking about music, and it's like, did they come from a dance? I love Dan's idea that they came from the Roadhouse, or they're referencing the Roadhouse in the show. I think that's really cool. Again, we're going to see the moon get covered, darkness covering the moon in this scene as well, like we saw back when Cooper was, or Mr. C was shot. Very, very cool. We're going to jump over now to the desert where a woodsman will descend and stop a couple in their car.
Oh boy. The way that he just floats down, semi-transparent, kind of silhouetted against the sky, landing on the desert floor. Very cool. We see a car stopped on the road facing us that looks like it has some woodsmen swarming around it. This couple that we're kind of riding along with is coming the opposite direction towards it, and they stop, and then we get a woodsman with the got a light. Who's going to be very famous walking through here. Are they like, I don't know, this is me thinking out loud, like it feels like they're attracted to the headlights, like moths to a flame, or the electricity, or the energy that's coming from it, or they attracted to the people. It also feels so interesting to see the man in that car and the car that we're in when they're talking to the woodsman is talking to them. They look hypnotized, mesmerized, like they can't tear their eyes away from them. We see this later in the radio station with the receptionist as well. So it's like they almost have control over them. They can't do anything but escape. It's great.
We saw that with Ray as well, when Ray is facing those woodsmen.
That's true. He couldn't. Well, he finally got the energy to get up and get the heck out of there. But yeah, it's just really cool. And the way that it slows down, and there's distortion on the voice as the woman in the car is screaming. And they finally get out of there, and the whole thing kind of speeds up a bit. It's just a really cool effect. But we get the gotta like guy coming that we'll see so much more of.
Yeah. From pure air, we have descended.
From pure air. We have descended.
So we heard that line said by the man from another place in The Missing Pieces. From pure air, they are descending. It's amazing. You hear the sound of electricity as well that we're always accompanying them as they go. The actor that's playing the main Gotta Light guy that is going to do a broadcast soon, it's Robert Broski. He also appears as Abe Lincoln in other things. And this is the second actor in the Twin Peaks universe to play Lincoln. Huh. So he's joining Royal Dano, who we know played Judge Clinton Sternwood, who was the Lincoln in the Disney Hall of Presidents.
The woods are wondrous here, but strange.
So it's two actors in Twin Peaks that have played Lincoln at some form, some point in their life. This actor, Robert Broski, I heard him talk about working with Lynch, and when he showed up, he thought he was just a background actor.
Like, I was background too, I thought, until that actual moment when we were all there out in the desert. I'm not going to say where the desert was, but out in the desert. And he trusted you, that he gave you a few things to say or a few things to do, and that was it. He handed me a cigarette and said, well, you got to walk up to the car. And he didn't tell me what to do with the cigarette or whatever. So I go, well, you just kind of, you have an idea of how you're dressed, at least for me, how we were dressed, how we were just totally different as far as all the makeup and everything else. And in the evening, cold desert, it made you alive for your surroundings and what we were doing. And I think that added to it. He probably knew that.
Through this makeup, through the environment, and just become David's idea for the particular scene. It's just very neat to hear him talk about that. The couple's played by Tad Griffith and Leslie Berger. I believe Tad Griffith is the stunt coordinator who's driving the car. I believe that is true. Now, we mentioned Gotta Light, Dan, all the way back in episode 16.
We did.
Uttered by Dick Tremaine.
I'm going to keep my baby.
Oh,
That's not open for discussion.
I see.
Be quiet. Let her talk.
Got a light.
Got a light.
The original woodsman.
Is he the original woodsman? Behind him, there's, you can see a frame photo of woodsman. He is lighting a cigarette when the sprinklers go off. Leland is dead soon after. So is Dick a woodsman? My money is a no, but it's still neat. And you can't not walk around saying "got a light" for the rest of your life after you see this for the first time. All right, so meanwhile, we're going to join the teenagers again. They're walking a quiet country road, and they get to know each other. At her house, the boy asks for a kiss.
Just note that they're walking along this country road and the power lines over their head as well. So an important detail that we see quite frequently. Nothing about the story, but just about the performances. They feel so natural, the two of them. The whole, can I give you a kiss? And she's hemming and hawing about it. She asks if he's broken up with this girl, Mary, and is he upset about that? I like this way that she says, when he says, no, he's not broken up about it. That's good. That's good. That's good. She just feels very natural. It's a great performance by the two of them. It's really adorable. And just, I can't imagine how uncomfortable it is in that dress with all the ruffles and crinoline or whatever that's underneath. It's a beautiful look. Just the visual style of this, again, the costuming, the cinematography, the lighting, everything just looks incredible here. Just a beautiful
You find
scene.
out the boy lives in town. The boy lives by the school. She seems to know a lot about him. It's mentioned that, is he going with Mary? And he's not anymore. So is he a player? The other big question we haven't talked about, is this Sarah Palmer? I mean, a lot of people believe it's Sarah Palmer. I believe it's Sarah Palmer. So I'm going to talk about it as Sarah Palmer because I think it's important. It still may not be. It's credited as girl. It's not credited as young Sarah Palmer. So do with that what you will. He asks, she gets very nervous and he kisses her. So there's that moment. And then she's going to go into her house. So we're going to see what happens next. So now the woodsman is going to head to a radio station, murder the staff, and make a dedication.
Request and dedication goes out. When you see that radio station broadcast tower in the distance and the woodsman heading for it, first thing I was thinking is broadcasting that energy out across the entire listening area. So you get from the very beginning as he's heading that way a sense of dread and foreboding of what he's going to be doing there. Like I said, whenever he goes into the radio station, KPJK.
Oh, you know what? I don't remember.
I think it was.
Okay.
I just remember PJs and it was K at both ends. Goes into the radio station. We get the receptionist turns again, like I said, just unable to look away from him, takes steps towards him, even though she is obviously terrified. Again, slow motion, slowing down the scene. When he puts his hand on her head, that crunching sound
it's horrible.
Oh, it's so great. It's so effective.
More stuff with heads. Lots of stuff with heads.
So many things with heads. And then, he crushes her head, but the way that it's done with really shaking the camera, so you really can't see what's going on, except you see this explosion of black blood and goo coming out of it. Really explicit without actually seeing it is a pretty cool way to do that. He goes into the DJ's booth and does the same thing, but this time he takes a real long time cracking that head. He's just got the hands on there, and he's doing it for minutes at a time. But then we get the refrain that will never leave your head for the rest of your life.
This is the water, and this is the well. Drink full and descend. The horse is the white of the eyes, and dark within.
Have you cracked the code?
Well, I could tell you what it means to me. Sure, definitely. Okay, so to start outside, it is so beautiful and it's so dark outside in the desert when you see the radio station tower in the distance as the woodsman sort of approaching it. And it was something that David Lynch really wanted to capture, that darkness. And there's a really cool behind-the-scenes feature where he's having this conversation with Peter Deming.
I grew up in the 50s in the desert, south of Boise, Idaho. It's fucking pitch black.
Okay.
This looks like this would be, you barely see it.
Do you want to see it?
I don't want to see much.
Okay.
It's just dark as hell and scary. You see inside, but these windows are dim. Everything was dim. It's like giant stars in the sky, but dark. Everything is dark.
Okay.
And you can sort of see the dust, but it's not like cheerful. It's not lit up outside. It's like, it's real dark. And when we see it in the distance, it will be all black and, just see a silhouette of the building.
And it really is just like complete blackness out there in the desert.
I felt the same thing in the previous scene when we have the woodsmen approach the cars. The car headlights are so bright, but everything around it is absolute perfect black. It looks so great.
Now, the song on the radio when this scene starts is playing is The Platters, My Prayer.
When the twilight is gone and no songbirds are singing.
The lyrics are very interesting when you think about the world of Twin Peaks. When the twilight is gone and no songbirds are singing, where we're from, the birds sing a pretty song and there's always music in the air. We also see different places that are listening to this song. So we get a mechanic, a diner, Pops, and a girl's bedroom, which are three iconic Twin Peaks locations. Big Ed's Gas Farm, the Double R Diner, Laura's bedroom. By the way, the name of the diner in Riverdale is Pops.
I was going to...
That was my second Riverdale thing that I would have to say today. Okay. You talk about the reaction, the receptionist. I just love the reaction to Got a Light and how she reacts to that and the way they did it. Now, it's 1956 specifically. 1956, when this takes place, is an interesting year for music. It is the year that Elvis's first record is released.
Well, it's one for the money, two for the show, three to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoe.
Got a light.
Well, you can do anything, but take me over my blue.
Got a light.
It's the year kind of when rock and roll really reaches the farthest parts of at least in white America. You have the Platters playing and then it's stopped. And then after 1956, kind of rock takes over music and it culture has changed forever. And the 50s make way for the 60s and for counterculture and all of these things. So you can see this scene kind of as a giant metaphor as well to the horrors of World War II. And then the reaction to that with explosions in creative arts and music especially, and what happens with the youth of America and everything that happens here. The disc jockey as well is killed is played by Cullen Douglas as well. All right, so let's jump out of the radio station and we're going to watch...
Oh, wait. You didn't tell me. Do you have what's your theories about the?
Oh, I guess I do. I have that at the end. Can we wait?
Oh, sure. Okay. I just want to make sure that we did it though.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Cool. I'm going to talk about it at length.
Okay, good.
You'll be so tired of me talking about it. Yeah. All right. So now we're going to see what happens after he says this is the water, this is the well. So the townsfolk are knocked out by this broadcast, and the frog moth enters the girl's mouth.
Yeah. You already mentioned this, but I love I honestly didn't put the pieces together other than the diner being like reminiscent of, any nostalgic diner, just like the Double R. But the mechanic's garage, Big Ed, and the Laura's bedroom, like the young girls, it looks incredible. I just love the look of these places. The way that the frog moth itself moves, just coming through the grass and heading up towards that open window, God, I just can't get over how real it feels. It's not as though I've never seen digital effects before, but it's so beautifully done. And the way that it kind of lumbers and flies, but is so heavy that its wings can barely carry it up to the windowsill. And
the physics are
it's wonderful. And it doesn't quite land on it. So its behind legs are kind of scrambling to get up onto it. It just feels very alive, very well thought out, very organic and natural. But you know that every detail had to be done exactly because it's animated. So they thought about every moment of it. I just get blown away by the attention to detail that these creative people have to go through that process. And it translates beautifully on the screen. As it's climbing across her bed towards her sleeping body, It just gives me shivers. It is so visceral and it works so well. And it gives like this little buzz that almost feels like it's controlling her. It's a little buzz, and then she opens her mouth wide to let it in. And the way that it's scrambling in and her jaw is moving. So either that was done in post or they give a direction, but it all syncs up perfectly. So the blend of the real practical and then the digital on top of that looks so good. And then that last moment as it's finally climb inside her mouth, and just that one little foot kind of dangling comes back in really slowly before she closes her mouth, and then she swallows. Oh my God, it gives me chills right now. It's so freaking gross and so beautifully done. There's the mix of beautiful and revolting in one scene is incredible. I love it.
Yeah, it's like a marked page in Flesh World.
Circle that ad. And then the last thing that's in this scene too is the woodsman leaving the radio station, but not before he finally does crush the DJ's head, but his fingers go in through the back of his head, puncturing his skull. It's a detail that didn't need to be there, and it's so freaking gross and beautiful and disgusting. It's great. And he goes leaving from the station. So God, all of that is great. So just to see the entire town kind of knocked out and put to sleep so that this frog moth can do its whatever it's doing inside the girl / Sarah. It's so cool.
Right. And I think that's the thing, right? So the broadcast is intended to knock you out so that this thing can happen. So we got to talk about the frog moth. So I am torn. I'm actually torn about what I think it is. I'm not. When I first approached this, I had a different view. Like, I had decided that the frog moth was Laura. Both frogs and moths are transformative creatures, right? So we saw the golden sphere pushed into the screen, and then we see the egg in the desert. And I saw it initially entering Sarah, her mom, assuming this is Sarah, so that years later she could give birth to Laura. And I mentioned the guidebook, right? So in the guidebook, this is the description of the frog moth. It's Native American art form. It's like a wood carving, I think, of the frog moth. And it says the Chinook legends describe the appearance long ago of an ancestress of the frog clan. They tell of a house floating in the middle of a lake. On the house sits a woman, her knees, breasts, eyebrows, and the backs of her hands covered with flying frogs. Ever since that time, the flying frog has been viewed as a special crest. Now, the fireman's house is floating in the middle of an ocean, and there is a woman sitting there, Senorita Dido. She is the one that places Laura into the world. And then we cut to the desert where the egg hatches. But, the more I saw the return, the more I just started leaning into the idea that this is a piece of Judy. Like, all of these eggs, like, she's gone away, spread the infection where you spill your seed.
Right.
It's also important that you see that that one egg leave the stream. So it's like that one egg that leaves the stream behind Bob is this egg that lands here.
Okay.
The frog moth, like Bob, enters through a bedroom window. And the woodsmen, who are killing people and taking over the radio so they can perform the poem, they are clearly an evil entity. And this broadcast causes young Sarah to pass out. Just like Leland gave Sarah drugged milk, here we have the woodsman drugging Sarah, over the airwaves. So if the horse is representative of Sarah in her milk white drugged state, and she drank full, and she sank deeper and deeper and deeper into the darkness of the Palmer home, then the white of the eyes are the eyes that refuse to see the abuse that was right in front of her, like the blue sweater that she was missing, even though she was wearing it the whole time. So I keep talking about, for me, Judy being like a quote-unquote knowing, this death of mystery. It's a terrible truth that can destroy the world. Like, knowing Laura's killer is so powerful it destroys the show. Mm-hmm. So Judy is this thing that people do not want to confront. Like, the knowing is something people hide, and through this ignorance, they enable terrible people to do terrible things. They push it down. They pretend it didn't happen. And there are so many eggs in that vomit stream. It's like Bobby said, we all knew she was in trouble.
Everybody knew she was in trouble. But we didn't do anything. All you good people. You want to know who killed Laura? You did! We all did.
Like, these eggs are everywhere in our society. Even the bomb itself. Even the bomb itself, as someone who's a citizen of the United States, we're the only countries who ever used the bomb. And yet we pretend we didn't, really. We pretend we didn't create this thing that can unmake the world. And so young Sarah here burying this knowing deep within her where it will grow and fester. And then later, when she learns the terrible truth, when she's told the secret of the mystery that when Leland's revealed, she can no longer suppress this thing so deep inside her that she's overcome with Judy with this knowing, and it destroys her. And the reason why she suffers and Laura does not is because she never truly reconciles with it. Like, she doesn't confront it the way Laura did. So this terrible frog moth, like, within her transforms into something very dark within, and she becomes darkness herself. Now, on Spotify, we put our podcast on Spotify, and we get comments comments every once in a while. And I do read them all, by the way. So if you're listening to this, I do read all of your comments. But there's one that I wanted to share here. I don't know the person's name to properly credit them, because on Spotify, like, if you don't pick a username, it just gives a random string of numbers as the username. But they post enough, and I can recognize the number string and know that's the same person. And she always seems to post very interesting, thoughtful things that are usually fueled by her own personal life experiences. So I'll paraphrase what she said. And she said something along the lines of this frog moth entering her mouth is representative of sexual abuse that she suffers. Maybe it's by this boy, or maybe it's by some other male figure in her life, but it's not something that I saw before. But once she pointed that out, I can absolutely see that it continues this cycle of abuse that we see time and time and time again in this world. And it also works for me with my theory on Judy of being a knowing. In this case, that knowing is being further repressed. And it's Sarah is pushing that memory deep within, and later her daughter will suffer the same cycle. But with Laura, because she is more than Laura, she's going to break that cycle. And then when you think about it's through the mouth, and it's heads is the thing that she gets. I drew heads, and she's alone with this boy at night who's maybe with Mary. Like, all of that to me, when she said that, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't see that part of it, but it works with where my head was anyway.
I think it's really interesting too. If the moment that we had before this was her being persuaded to kiss the boy, or for the boy to kiss her, which is, the prelude to the loss of innocence as well.
Sure.
I think also very literal, but the inversion of a princess kissing a frog to make its prince. Instead, she kisses the boy and then a frog in her mouth. I don't know. There feels like there's something along those lines, but that's such an interesting way to think about all this. Wow. No, I'm so impressed by how thoughtful people are about this material and their willingness to kind of share their ideas, while other people have, ideas that could be completely conflicting with that, or in some ways overlapping and connect, or even the similarities between them, the distance between them can be something that's meaningful. So thank you so much for providing those comments to us.
All right. So the woodsman walks into the darkness, and the young girl sleeps as the credits go up.
Yeah. After crushing skulls, he's got to head back off into the desert, and we get the flashing of lights. And as he goes over the hill into the pitch black darkness, you hear a horse whinnying in the distance.
Yeah, sound of the horse.
Real cool. Sound of a horse in the background.
An electric hum mixed in.
Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it. What a incredible episode. I mean,
oh, it's fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, it's really, I mean, and also this scene when he's walking out, like this darkness, the idea of characters emerging from darkness or going into darkness in this case, like, is a recurring image throughout Lynch's work. It's always effective.
Yeah, what an amazing way to change your expectations of what the show is or what it can be. It's already feels so different than the first season, and then within itself, it completely changes tone and style. It's amazing. That's it. Tell us what you think, folks. Join us on our Patreon.
Yeah, what did you think of Part 8? Part 8. What'd you think? Thank you for listening to the Meanwhile podcast with Dan Johnson and Eric Grissom. If you would like to support the Meanwhile podcast, join our Patreon. It's available right now. You can sign up, and for just a few dollars a month, you can keep this show going, and you can get access to some exclusive podcasts and some secret stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. So if you'd like to join, go to ericgrissom.com/meanwhile and look for the Patreon link. If you like our show, please consider rating and reviewing the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're hearing this now. Meanwhile is produced by Eric Grissom and Where's My Robots? The Meanwhile theme song is written and performed by Paul Finn and Evening Pines. If you want to let us know what you thought of the show, you can reach Dan at danjnj.com, both on the web and on Blue Sky. Eric can be found on Blue Sky at ericgrissom.com, which is also his website. It's also me, right? That's weird. We'll see you again, and in the meantime, be good.
Listen to the sounds.
Meanwhile.
Where's my robots, you know?